Hi, Charles County. Welcome back to an episode of Ready, Set, Prepare, our podcast and video series about emergency preparedness here in Charles County. I'm Doria Fleischer, and I'm joined, as always, by Wade Halbert. Wade is our emergency manager. Thanks so much for being here, Wade.
Great to be here.
We're going to do an episode today on snow and winter weather. So also joining us, I'm thrilled that Sean Jacks, our Assistant Chief of Roads, is here today. Thanks, Sean.
Thanks for having me.
So, Sean, you look pretty good for a man who's dealing with snow all winter, yeah?
Yeah, used to it.
Okay, this is kind of your normal.
Yeah.
I know snow is probably not your favorite word, and I appreciate you taking some time out of your busy schedule to be here with us to record this episode.
Sure, no problem.
Awesome. So, Wade, I want to start because this series is all about emergency preparedness in general and the work you do. Snow and emergency preparedness, they go together because, and you focus on because. Give us the overview.
So from an emergency management perspective, we look at, we're following the weather.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the things that emergency managers do. We fashion ourselves to be weather geeks. And so we're monitoring situations as they occur, whether it be hurricanes, fire weather, or winter weather.
Mm-hmm.
And we have visibility, oftentimes a week in advance that something might be forming, and then a couple days beforehand. That's usually if we know there's going to be a significant weather event. There'll usually be a state call where emergency managers get on if it's going to affect the entire state, or maybe a regional one where it's going to impact a certain area. Mm-hmm. And then we start strategizing as far as resource needs, requirements, et cetera. Who will have their EOC activated, who won't. Where are we at shelter status if we needed to get to that stage? Are there any other things that you might have? Are there significant impacts potentially to shelters, to hospitals, mm-hmm. critical infrastructure?
So you had used an expression in the past that the emergency manager role is kind of that conductor of an orchestra. So the orchestra has all of these resources that might be needed to activate in snow, and your job is to figure out which of them we might need or where they would go and how they would work together. Is that accurate?
Right. And prior to the storm, I think the most critical thing emergency management is doing is ensuring that the stakeholders are all speaking to each other, mm-hmm. and they're all receiving the best intelligence information, in this case, weather information related to what could be coming. Because we can plug in and talk directly to the people at the National Weather Service, at NOAA, and we get our information there.
Perfect.
Weather Channel's great, but it's not the official source that we utilize.
I'm laughing because I think of the times that I've popped that open on my phone and it says like 25% chance of rain, and I'm standing and getting wet while I'm looking at it. So I can appreciate that we need that kind of more intense data. And you used an acronym, EOC. What is the EOC?
That's the Emergency Operations Center. So anytime there's a major incident, what will happen is that the Emergency Operations Center will be activated, and at that stage, we'll have different stakeholders in, depending on the complexity of the incident. Sometimes we may not have anybody in it. We can activate the EOC virtually, where we can communicate with different partners. We can touch base, we can log information related to the incident, and we can get the resources where they need to be. So in a winter weather event, it's not the emergency manager's role to talk about how the streets will be plowed. Mm-hmm. It's not the emergency manager's role to, talk about traffic control from a law enforcement perspective. It's to have that information ready so that we can alert the public that there's an issue, let them know if there's going to be potential warming centers set up, mm-hmm. And other critical information so that they can be best prepared to outlast the storm.
Beautiful. All right. So I know a little bit later on, Wade, we want to talk about, or I'm going to ask you to talk about, the importance of trying to be prepared and stay at home as much as possible. But I want to kind of sidetrack a little bit and say, I think it's impossible to talk about winter weather and snow without also talking about the roads. It's what we all think about, right? So Sean, give us the overview, and I love that you have this like glued into your brain. I feel like you dream at night about plowing and snow. So what's the deal with plows in Charles County? When do you start to plow? How deep does the snow need to be? What are all those statistics that you're so great about spitting out about snow in Charles County?
So sure, we start plowing once we get 2 to 3 inches mm-hmm. on the ground. Once the first inch to 1 to 2 inches apply, we'll put salt down. We'll give that salt time to react to stop the ice from bonding with the road.
Okay.
And again, once we get to 2 to 3 inches, we'll start plowing. Plowing usually doesn't stop until the end of the event or until we got the road completely opened. Again, things to keep in mind is that we plow down the street, so wait till the end of the storm to clear your driveways and
Okay.
clear your sidewalk area, because you don't want to keep redoing it over and over, especially when we have a significant snow event.
Because if I if I shovel my drive, if I shovel my sidewalk, my walkway, and then the plow comes, it's going to push the snow right back
Right
up.
back.
Okay, gotcha. So let you guys get out there first and clear the road. Okay, awesome. Oh yeah, go ahead, please.
And just also keep in mind, this time of the year, when we got these extreme cold temperatures, it takes a longer time for the salt to work. You need to be above freezing to get a good melting process. And
Okay.
then what happens is you melt during the day, and then it refreezes at night. So when the road is safe to travel during the day, it could be dangerous again by night.
Okay, so just being aware that it's kind of constantly changing. And
Yes.
okay, so as Charles County roads, you guys handle the county roads, the ones that I always joke, like not a state road, a county road, because it has a name and that whole deep dive into it.
Correct.
Yeah.
All the county roads, we don't own Route 301, Route 5, those of course are state.
Right.
And there are also a lot of private roads. If you live in a private community, we don't maintain or plow those roads either.
Okay. What about sidewalks? That's something that I feel like residents ask about all the time. Like, it's who's responsible for making sure that, not the road is clear, but people have a place to walk, kids can get to school safely.
Sure, that's dependent on the HOAs and also the homeowners. So
Okay.
in front of your residence, you're required to clear the sidewalk area. And if you live in an HOA-driven community, they base it upon their needs and standards.
Okay. So that is not something you guys do?
No.
Okay. Sean, something that I also know that you guys like to really talk about and ask for help in, but also something that I think that our residents don't really know what to do. How do I if I'm behind a snowplow, what do I do to keep myself safe, but also keep the plow driver safe? Like, how do I move around? We've got laws about passing emergency vehicles and how to get around a school bus with its lights, but what about plows? That's a big deal.
Sure, the safest thing would be keep a safe distance from the plow and never try to go around it.
Okay.
If you're going around a plow, then you're running on untreated and unprepared roads. So stay back, let that truck do what it has to do. I know it's time consuming, but safety is the overall goal. You don't want to go around an emergency vehicle, because then you're getting in the way of the operation.
Okay, excellent. Thank you, Sean. So, Wade, I know, in a perfect world, we're not going to have many people on the roads. Is that correct?
Right.
Okay, so I want to talk about two different things. I want to talk about how you can prepare so that you don't have to be on the road. So what can you do to be ready for the storm and just stay at home, let Sean and his guys be out there doing work? But then I also want to talk about if you did end up on the road because of an emergency, because you're essential and you have to get to work, what you can do to keep yourself safe on the road. So start by, please, how do I prepare as a family, as an individual in Charles County, so that I really can try to avoid being out and about?
I'd say the first thing is, pay attention to the weather.
Okay.
It's not that tough. We can all get alerts on our phone and just double check. We get to the point, you don't have to prepare for winter weather in May, but once November rolls around, just quick check. And if it looks like there's the potential for storms, just start taking stock of what you've got and identify, unlike a tornado or some other major incident that might occur, a winter storm, a hurricane, we have advance notice of those things. They don't just happen instantaneously. So as a result, you've got time to prepare. So just identify, do I need food? Everybody runs out and gets milk and bread and eggs, Well, if the power goes out in your house, you're not going to be able to cook eggs, But identify, what do you need?
So
And will I need to be on the road during the storm? If not, make sure you have everything you need to get your snacks, kick back on the couch, and just watch a movie or two.
Awesome. And I'm laughing that you said bread, eggs, milk, because in my house, I'm a firm believer that in inclement weather, calories don't count, and pizza and nachos are totally appropriate. Like, that is what I need to eat to sustain myself in the snow. And neither of you is going to deny that today, right? Excellent. I'm glad that this is obviously the truth, right? Okay, but pizza and nachos you would need to kind of heat up. So if I lost power, I'm looking for shelf-stable stuff that I can just eat as is, yes?
Well, I've never seen a cold pizza that's still not tasty.
Good point. So making sure you've got food that either doesn't need to be heated, or if you're a cold pizza person, I support that. Something else, Wade, that you said that I want to remind people of, we have the citizen notification system, which is such a great system here in Charles County. Can you talk a little bit about what that is and how residents can use it?
Right. The citizen notification system is a mass alert system that you can sign up for. Just Everbridge is the company that we utilize to get these messages out. Mm-hmm. It's a leader in this space, and all you have to do is sign up for your alerts, and then you'll be able to get notified when there's actually going to be an emergency. So, it's the same thing. You get the alerts on the phone. Everybody's familiar with the presidential alerts or national alerts that can be sent out that you can't override. These are ones you can opt into, and we don't keep data. We're not tracking where you're going or what you're doing. We don't have access to any of that information. It's information that gets put into the system that you subscribe to, and if the alerts become too much, you can opt out of them.
Beautiful. And I will make sure that the link for our CNS, our citizen notification system, is in the show notes, because that is so important. It's just a great way you can be prepared and get that information early. Okay, so we're trying to get people to stay home as much as you can, stay off the roads, let Sean and his amazing team do their job. But if somebody did need to be on the roads, we've talked about how they can navigate as safely as possible around plows. Inevitably, if I were on the road and I got stuck, so can't get my car to go forward, can't get my car to go backward, what do I do? Either one of you can take a stab at this one. You can fight over it.
Well, you want to contact the non-emergency number for the Sheriff's Office,
Okay.
Charles County. They can arrange for your vehicle to be towed at that driver's cost.
Okay.
Depending on how bad you're stuck, we always tell folks to keep a little bag of stay dry or kitty litter in your car.
Okay.
You can apply that absorbent down on the tires, and it'll give you enough traction sometimes to get back on the road.
Okay.
Again, if you're not completely off the road, but just a little off, it'll help get you back on.
Back on. Okay. So, Sean, I hear you saying, like, this is not a 911 call. This is a call the non-emergency number, the 301-932-2222.
Yep.
And that they'll contact a tow or put you in. They'll tell residents who they can call, but it is not the sheriff's office responsibility to tow cars for residents. Is that accurate? Okay, so people need to be aware that if you get stuck, it is your own cost to get your car towed. Okay, awesome. Wade, if you got stuck and you can't get out, what do you do? Is this the emergency model? Stay in your car, get out of your car. It depends. Like, what does somebody do if they're stuck?
Yeah, everything is incident specific. So in that scenario, if you get stuck, the first thing is don't panic. We're not in a situation where you're in a war zone where you're an imminent threat to life. So take stock of where you're at.
Okay.
Did your vehicle get disabled in a position where it's relatively safe? You're not on a highway where cars might be coming by at 50 miles an hour. If the vehicle's in a safe location, you've got a phone, call for help and wait. You can at least keep the car running. You can keep yourself warm. If the vehicle's not in a safe location, that's when hopefully you'll be able to tap into your handy dandy emergency preparedness bag that you keep in your car.
Dun, dun, dun.
Right.
I love it.
That can have basic things to help you. Maybe an extra jacket, maybe an extra pair of gloves, dry socks, a shovel if you need to, but, and just make the decision at that point, okay, I'm going to have to go somewhere. And, it might just be a matter, you could get stuck. You might have to walk 200, 300 yards, and then you're at a gas station. Well, then don't worry about your car. You're safe. You'll get your car back at some point, and everything's fine.
So make yourself safe. Don't panic.
Right.
And get yourself to the safest place you can, whether that's staying in the car or getting yourself somewhere safe and leaving the car.
Right.
Is that accurate?
I'll steal a famous movie line, but you have to know your limitations.
Okay.
So, if you are not in great physical shape, then if you're in a rural area where you might have to get out of your car and walk 2 miles to the nearest gas station, decide whether or not you can actually do that.
And be able to do it.
That might be a situation where if you have a phone, call the non-emergency number and say, look, I am not capable of leaving my car. I can't do it, right?
Yeah.
And then there might be situations where you can do it.
Resource
if you
cap.
have kids, different story.
Right.
They may not be able to make the trip, and you're not going to leave the kids unattended in a car.
So making the best decision that you can at that time. We're going to talk another time about emergency kits in general, but Wade, give us the top 3, top 5, top 20, whatever number you want to share. what should I have in my emergency bag so that if I'm on the road and I get stuck in winter weather?
I mean, in winter weather, you want to make sure that you have a phone. So let's make sure you've got some sort of battery backup device to that. Sometimes people leave the house and they haven't charged their phone. Make sure you've got some sort of snack if you have to get out and go somewhere. Protein bar, something like that.
Okay.
You want to have some water. Keep yourself hydrated. Even in cold weather, you can get dehydrated. That's important. And then something to keep you warm. That bag is there for the situation where you've got to get out of the car.
That makes sense. And
or you might have to overnight in the car. There's been incidents where people have gotten stuck even on major highways for hours. Well, if that's the case,
be prepared.
You might run out of gas, and what are you going to do to stay warm?
Gotcha. And suggestions on, do people carry reflectors? Sean, what's helpful to your team when they're out plowing? If your car is disabled, do something to mark your car? What's suggested?
You should have a roadside triangle, safety triangle. Most folks, CDL drivers, they have flares as well to mark the vehicle when it's down. And also remember to put your four-way flashes on so you can be identified.
Gotcha, and keep them on.
Yep.
Beautiful. Whew. All right, so to end the kind of a heavy topic about snow on a lighter note, Wade, when it snows, what are you eating? What are you watching?
I'm watching whatever my kids decide they want to watch, so we'll keep them calm and my wife can relax a little bit.
Excellent. That was a good answer.
And as far as what I'm eating, as my stomach will show, I've been enjoying the nachos and queso a little too much.
Apparently, you and I have similar snow diets. I love it. Sean, I know you are often not home and probably in a truck for most of the snow. So if I knocked on the window of your truck, I would find you eating and drinking what, and I would find you listening to what?
Usually I'm listening to the updates for the weather.
Okay.
And I'm drinking some water and whatever was open, usually Wawa or something.
Okay. You're not
chips.
picky.
Nope.
Okay. Do you have a favorite? Like my body craves this when it snows?
No, just whatever it takes to get the job done.
Excellent. All right, Sean, I so appreciate you taking time to be here today. Wade, thanks for doing this series with us. I'm so glad that we're finding ways to get information out to our public about how they can help with emergency preparedness here in Charles County, including things like winter weather.
All right.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much, Charles County, for tuning in to Ready, Set, Prepare, our series on emergency preparedness here in Charles County. We are going to have many more episodes coming your way about things you can do to help keep our community prepared and safe for all things. And in the meantime, as always, take care, stay safe, and stay engaged.
Thanks for listening. If you like this podcast and want to hear more, search Charles County Government on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast. And be sure to like and subscribe. We're also available on YouTube. Search Charles County Commissioners. And stay connected for all county news, information, and programs by visiting www.charlescountymd.gov/stay connected.